Have you ever felt different, as if you were walking a path unseen by most, as if life itself were nudging you toward something greater, something beyond the ordinary? Perhaps you faced hardships that seemed unfair, moments of solitude that felt endless, or an unshakable pull toward an unknown destination. What if I told you this is not by accident? What if the very things that set you apart are signs that you are marked by God, not in a way that elevates you above others, but in a way that calls you into something deeper, into purpose, transformation, and divine orchestration? Because to be marked by God is to be shaped, refined, and prepared for a destiny far beyond what the mind can comprehend. And if this resonates with you, it may be because you are already walking in it. You are not here by accident. Something deep within you has always whispered that you are different, that your life carries a significance beyond what the eyes can see. And yet, the world around you moves as if blind to this truth. You've walked through life sensing that you do not quite fit into the molds that others seem to slip into so easily. You've questioned why your journey has been marked with trials, why the weight of existence sometimes feels heavier upon your shoulders than it does on others. But what if I told you that this very feeling is not a mistake? That the unease, the longing, the solitude, these are not signs of misdirection, but evidence of something greater. To be marked by God is to carry a divine imprint, an unseen signature of purpose upon your soul. It is to live in a way that cannot be explained by logic alone, for your story is being written by hands that transcend time. You have been set apart, not in a way that makes you superior, but in a way that demands transformation, and transformation is never gentle. It is the breaking, the reshaping, the molding of your very being into something extraordinary. Consider this: the great figures of faith, the ones whose lives echo through eternity, were never the ones who blended seamlessly into society. They were the ones called into the wilderness, the ones who wrestled with doubt and walked unfamiliar paths. Abraham was told to leave everything he knew. Moses was drawn out of obscurity and into a confrontation with the impossible. David, anointed long before he ever sat on a throne, spent years in hiding before his purpose fully unfolded. The pattern is unmistakable. Those marked by God are often led through seasons of uncertainty, through paths that do not make sense to the logical mind. But in this, they are being refined, prepared for something far beyond their own understanding. Perhaps you've noticed it in your own life, the way doors that seemed perfect have shut before you could walk through them, the way relationships that felt secure have unraveled without warning. And yet, through every disappointment, through every redirection, something in you remains unbroken, as if an invisible force is steering you away from what is not meant for you. This is the divine imprint at work. It is the unseen hand shaping you, pulling you away from the distractions of the world and deeper into your true calling. But to be marked by God is not just to be led, it is to be tested. Fire does not destroy gold, it refines it. In the same way, suffering does not diminish those who are chosen, it strengthens them. You may have faced hardships that seemed relentless, battles that left you wondering if you were forgotten. But in reality, you have been in the process of becoming. The very struggles that sought to break you have in truth been carving you into something unshakable. The world may not understand this journey. It may look at your life and see only delays, only detours. But deep within, you know there is a rhythm to it all. There are moments, small yet profound, where the veil is lifted and you see the divine orchestration at play. A conversation that happens at just the right moment, a door that opens when you least expect it, a sign that arrives when you are on the verge of giving up. These are not coincidences, they are reminders. Reminders that you are seen, that you are known, and that you are being guided. So do not fear the weight of your calling. Do not resent the process that shapes you. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are marked. And because of this, your story will unfold in ways you cannot yet imagine. There is something unsettling about being different, about feeling as though you do not belong where others seem so at ease. You have tried to fit into places that rejected you, forced yourself into situations that drained you, and yet, no matter how much effort you put in, something within you always pulled you away. It is as if an unseen hand has been guiding you, redirecting you, removing you from what was never meant to hold you. And this is not a curse, it is a sign that you have been set apart, marked by God for something beyond the ordinary. People who are marked by God often find themselves isolated, not because they lack value, but because they have been chosen for a journey that cannot be walked in a crowd. When you are called into something higher, there will be seasons where you must walk alone. The friendships that once felt comforting begin to feel distant. The places where you once found belonging no longer satisfy. The conversations that once held your attention now seem empty, and you wonder why. Why do the connections fade? Why does the world feel unfamiliar? But what if this is not rejection? What if this is protection? When God marks someone, He does not allow them to remain entangled in things that will delay their purpose, and so you find yourself in the quiet, in the spaces where the noise of the world fades and only His voice remains. At first it feels like loss. It feels like loneliness. But in time you begin to realize that solitude is not emptiness, it is preparation. The greatest figures in history, those who carried a divine purpose, all faced seasons of isolation. Joseph was thrown into a pit and left in a prison before stepping into his destiny. Moses was taken away from the palace and spent years in the wilderness before leading his people. Even Jesus, before stepping fully into his mission, withdrew into the desert. These moments of solitude are not a punishment. They are an invitation to become who you were created to be. But the path of the marked is not just one of isolation, it is one of discomfort. When you are chosen for something greater, you cannot remain comfortable in a life of complacency. You feel an unease when you try to settle for less. There is a restlessness within you, a stirring that refuses to be quieted. Others may be content with the ordinary, but you are not. Others may ignore the deeper call, but you cannot. No matter how much you try to silence it, the desire for something more lingers. It does not let you go because it was placed in you by the one who calls you forward. And then there are the moments of breaking, the times when everything seems to fall apart. To be marked by God is to be refined, and refinement is never easy. You will experience losses that do not make sense, trials that feel relentless, moments where it seems as though you are being stripped of everything familiar. But do not mistake the breaking for abandonment. A seed must break before it can grow. Gold must be purified before it shines, and those who are called must be tested before they are ready. The very pain that seems unbearable is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for what lies ahead. Through it all, there are glimpses of grace, reminders that you are not alone. The right words find you at the right time. Doors open in ways that cannot be explained. People appear in your life for a season, offering wisdom, encouragement, confirmation. These are not coincidences. They are markers along the path, evidence that you are being guided. So embrace the solitude, lean into the discomfort, trust the process even when it does not make sense. You are not forgotten, you are not lost, you are marked. And that means your story is still unfolding in ways more beautiful than you can imagine. There is something peculiar about the way life unfolds when you are marked by God. It does not follow the patterns that others seem to walk so effortlessly. You watch people move from one success to another, their lives appearing smooth and predictable, while your own path is filled with detours, delays, and moments of deep uncertainty. And you wonder why. Why does your journey seem so different? Why does it feel as though every step forward comes with resistance? But what if this resistance is not a sign of misdirection, but of divine selection? What if the very struggles you face are proof that you have been called into something greater? Being marked by God means that your life cannot be ordinary. It means that you are being shaped for a purpose that cannot be fulfilled without transformation. And transformation by its very nature is disruptive. The things that others can ignore, you cannot. The places where others can stay comfortable, you feel restless. You have tried to settle, to make peace with a life that is smaller than the vision inside you, but something within you will not allow it. That is the mark. It is the invisible hand that refuses to let you remain unchanged. You have likely noticed that your journey has been filled with tests, moments that felt like breaking points, seasons where you questioned everything. But to be marked by God is to be refined, and refinement is never without fire. The trials you face are not random, they are necessary. A warrior is not made in times of peace. A leader is not shaped without adversity. Every setback, every disappointment, every door that closed in your face was part of a greater design. You were not being delayed, you were being prepared. And then there is the undeniable feeling of being different, of not quite belonging. You have tried to blend in, to walk the same path as others, but something in you has always felt out of place. This is because you were never meant to follow the crowd. Those who are marked by God are often set apart, removed from the distractions of the world so that they can hear His voice more clearly. You may have lost friendships, walked away from situations that once felt comfortable, or found yourself standing alone when you least expected it. And it is painful, but this separation is not punishment. It is alignment. When you are called to something higher, not everyone can walk with you. At times it may feel like everything is working against you. But if you look closely, you will see the divine patterns unfolding. There are moments when, just as you are about to give up, a door opens. When you need guidance, the right words find you. When you are at your lowest, something reminds you that you are not alone. These are not coincidences. They are signs that you are being led. You do not need to have all the answers right now. You do not need to understand every step of the journey, but trust this: nothing in your life has been wasted. Every trial, every loss, every moment of solitude has been shaping you. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are marked. And because of this, your story will not end in defeat. It is only just beginning. There is something undeniable about the way life moves when you are marked by God. It does not flow in a straight line, nor does it conform to the expectations of the world. Instead, it moves through seasons of testing, moments of solitude, and a constant call to something higher. At times, it feels as though you are being stretched beyond what you can bear, as if the very ground beneath you is shifting, refusing to let you settle, and you wonder why. Why does your journey seem more difficult than others? Why do you feel this deep, unshakable pull towards something you cannot fully see? This is the nature of being chosen. When God marks you, He does not allow you to remain where you are. He places a restlessness within you, an inner stirring that refuses to be ignored. While others may find comfort in complacency, you cannot. While some are content to follow the patterns of the world, you are being drawn into something greater, something unknown yet deeply familiar. It is a whisper in the depths of your soul, calling you forward even when you do not know where the path leads. And yet, this path is not without resistance. Those who are marked by God often find themselves walking through trials that seem unfair, facing battles they never expected. The weight of your calling is heavy because it requires transformation. You cannot step into your purpose as the same person you were before. You must be refined, tested, and strengthened, and this process is rarely comfortable. Doors will close, people will walk away, opportunities that seemed perfect will slip through your fingers, and in those moments doubt will creep in. You will wonder if you have been forgotten, if you have made a mistake, if you are truly on the right path. But what if these struggles are not signs of failure, but evidence of divine preparation? Think about the great figures of faith, those whose lives were marked by God's hand. Their journeys were never easy. Joseph had a dream of greatness, but was thrown into a pit and left in a prison before he ever saw the fulfillment of his destiny. David was anointed king, yet spent years running for his life before he ever wore a crown. Even Jesus himself was led into the wilderness before stepping fully into his mission. This is the pattern. Those who are chosen are first broken. They are stripped of the things they once depended on so that they may be rebuilt into who they were truly meant to be. You have likely experienced this breaking in your own life. The things you thought you needed were taken away. The plans you made fell apart. The people you relied on could not stay. And yet you are still here. Somehow, through every trial, through every moment of uncertainty, you have been sustained. And if you look closely, you will see that even in the hardest moments, there were glimpses of grace. A door that opened at just the right time. A word of encouragement that found you when you were ready to give up. A sense of peace that came when everything around you seemed to be falling apart. These are not coincidences. They are reminders. Reminders that you are seen, that you are known, that you are being guided. So do not be discouraged by the trials. Do not be disheartened by the solitude. This journey is not meant to be easy, but it is meant to be meaningful. You are not lost, you are not forgotten, you are being prepared. And one day, everything that once seemed uncertain will make perfect sense. Because you are marked. And nothing can take that away. Life has a strange way of setting apart those who are marked by God. It does not follow the predictable patterns that others seem to experience. Instead, it weaves through seasons of uncertainty, moments of isolation and trials that appear to make no sense at all. You may find yourself wondering why your journey feels different, why the things that come so easily to others seem to elude you. You have tried to walk the same paths, follow the same formulas, but something within you resists. No matter how much you try to blend in, life always has a way of pulling you back, reminding you that you are not meant for the ordinary. To be marked by God is to carry a divine distinction, one that separates you not by status, but by purpose. It is an invisible seal upon your life that redirects, refines, and reshapes you in ways that others may never understand. The calling upon you is too great to allow you to settle. And so when you try to remain in places that no longer serve your growth, they begin to fall apart. Relationships fade, opportunities close, familiar things become uncomfortable. At first, this feels like rejection, as though you are being left behind while others move forward with ease. But in reality, this is divine redirection. You are not being left behind, you are being set apart. This process is rarely easy. It often comes with suffering, with trials that test the very core of who you are. The things that once defined you are stripped away, leaving you to face the truth of who you are becoming. And in these moments it is tempting to question everything. You may look at your circumstances and wonder if you have been forgotten. You may compare your journey to others and feel as though you are lagging behind. But the path of the marked is never about speed. It is about preparation. And preparation takes time. God does not rush those he has chosen. He does not place greatness in someone and then send them unprepared into the world. Every delay, every hardship, every moment of confusion serves a purpose. It is in the waiting that wisdom is gained. It is in the struggles that strength is forged. The very things that feel like obstacles are in fact the tools shaping you for what is to come. If you look back on your life, you will see the evidence of this. There were moments when things didn't go as planned, and yet in hindsight you can see why. There were times when you felt lost, only to later realize that you were being led all along. There were hardships that nearly broke you, yet somehow you are still standing. This is not coincidence. This is the mark of divine hands shaping you. And even in your lowest moments, when you felt unseen and unheard, there were glimpses of something greater. A word of encouragement at just the right time. A door that opened when you least expected it. A sense of peace in the middle of chaos. These were not random moments, they were reminders. Reminders that you are not alone, that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. So do not be discouraged by the difficulties you face. They are not signs of failure, but of formation. You are being prepared for something that requires a depth of character, a strength of spirit, and a level of wisdom that can only be gained through experience. Others may not understand your path. They may question your choices, wonder why you do not take the easy road. But their journey is not yours. You are not meant to walk where everyone else walks. You are meant for something greater. You may not see the full picture now, but one day everything will make sense. You will look back and realize that every struggle, every detour, every season of waiting was leading you exactly where you were meant to be, because you are marked, and nothing can change that.
You see, in this peculiar dance we call life, there comes a moment when you stop chasing the crowd and instead begin listening to the subtle rhythm of your own soul. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it whispers. And when you begin to move in tune with that whisper, when you walk in alignment with something greater than ego or ambition, people begin to notice. They feel it, often before you even realize it yourself. Being chosen is not about superiority, no, that would be the ego hijacking divinity. To be chosen is to awaken to your role in the symphony of existence, to recognize that life is not a series of accidents, but a conscious unfolding. And when you awaken to that knowing, the world responds in kind. Suddenly, strangers gaze at you a little longer. Friends begin to speak to you differently. Enemies soften. And why? Because you've become a mirror not reflecting who they are, but who they could be. This awareness, this state of being, is what mystics have called the divine spark, the Tao, the Christ within. And once it is lit within you, you cannot sunshine it. The world sees it and they react. One of the first signs that people are noticing you are a chosen one is an inexplicable shift in the way they treat you, not because of what you say or do, but because of what you emanate. You walk into a room and suddenly conversations change. Eyes glance toward you, sometimes with admiration, sometimes with confusion, occasionally with unease. Why? Because your very presence challenges the status quo. You've stopped playing the unconscious roles the world assigned you, and now you walk with an energy that says, I know who I am, and I am not afraid to be it. And people can feel that. It's not arrogance. In fact, it's the opposite. The chosen one doesn't puff up with importance. They radiate presence. They carry stillness like an ancient bell, echoing something timeless. This presence unsettles those still bound by their illusions, not because you've judged them, but because you remind them of the quiet truth they've tried to ignore. You become a symbol, unknowingly, of their own awakening. Some people may begin to distance themselves from you. Old friendships may fade without drama, simply dissolving like mist in the morning light. This isn't rejection, it's recognition. The frequency you now carry no longer matches the one they inhabit. It's like tuning a radio. When you move to a higher station, the old noise doesn't come with you. And though this can feel lonely, even disorienting, it is a sacred shedding. You're not losing people. You're clearing space for deeper alignment. Others, however, will gravitate toward you. Strangers may open their hearts to you without knowing why. They'll say things like, I don't usually share this with anyone, or there's something about you. They're sensing the shift, the light, the resonance of someone who is rooted in something real. And this pulls them like a magnet, not toward you per se, but toward the part of themselves they long to remember. You may even begin to notice that people either deeply respect you or quietly resist you. There is rarely indifference. You see, when the soul awakens, it carries a vibration that polarizes, not in a divisive way, but in a revealing one. Your life becomes a tuning fork that makes falsehood ring hollow. And for those not ready to face themselves, your presence can feel like too much light too quickly. But remember, you are not here to convince, to convert, or to correct. The chosen one simply is. You are not a preacher with a sermon. You are the mountain that reminds others of their own height. And whether they bow before you or turn away, it is not a reflection of your worth. It is only a mirror of where they are on their own path. So, as the world begins to notice, remain still, remain kind, remain empty of self-importance. For it is through your quiet being that the great mystery moves, and in this movement others are awakened. Another unmistakable sign that people are noticing you are a chosen one is the way they begin to project onto you both their light and their shadow. You become a canvas for their inner world, and this can be both beautiful and bewildering. Some will see in you a savior, a source of hope, someone who somehow makes them feel more alive just by being near. They are not responding to your personality, but to the presence that flows through you, the deep aliveness that cannot be explained by logic or titles or roles. It is the sacred energy of someone who has touched the eternal and returned to walk among the ordinary. But others will do the opposite. They will project their pain, their insecurity, their unresolved wounds onto you. They may criticize you for no clear reason, feel threatened by your peace, or try to bring you down without knowing why. It is not personal, it rarely ever is. It is a reaction to the silent mirror you've become. Because when someone stands in truth, it unconsciously invites everyone else to confront where they are not living in truth. And for many, this is too much to bear. So they resist, they lash out, or they attempt to shrink you back to a version of yourself that made them more comfortable. This is one of the paradoxes of awakening. You would think being aligned with divine purpose would bring nothing but harmony, but often it brings contrast first. The moment you begin to vibrate at a higher frequency, not by effort, but by surrender, you trigger the dissonance in others. Their reaction is not a punishment, but a purification. It is the universe clearing the space around you so that you can walk forward unencumbered. You may notice people coming to you for advice, for comfort, or simply for your presence. They can't always articulate what draws them, but they feel safer around you even when no words are exchanged. This is because you have become a carrier of stillness, a living sanctuary. You are no longer trying to fix or save the world. You are simply being, and in that being others begin to remember their own center. At the same time, some will test you, not maliciously but unconsciously. They will try to shake you, trigger you, provoke you not because they want to hurt you, but because they are hoping, deep down, that you won't fall. They want to believe that someone can remain calm in chaos, still in the storm. Your strength becomes a silent permission for them to believe such peace is possible. You must learn to hold all of this with gentleness. The praise and the judgment, the attraction and the rejection, none of it defines you. It simply reveals the impact of a soul that has remembered its origin. As you continue walking in truth, the world will continue responding, and your only task is to remain rooted in love for them, for yourself, and for the sacred unfolding of it all. One of the more mysterious signs that people are beginning to notice you are a chosen one is the way synchronicities begin to cluster around you, and others notice them even if they don't. Understand them. It's as if reality itself starts to bend gently in your favor, not with grand spectacle, but with subtle elegance. You speak of something and it appears. You think of someone and they call. You take a step in uncertainty and doors open with uncanny timing. Those around you begin to witness this pattern, and they might say, "You're so lucky," or "How do things always work out for you?" But deep down you know it's not luck, it's alignment. You are moving with the current of life, not against it. These synchronicities are not just personal. They affect others who cross your path. They begin to experience shifts too, not because you're doing anything to them, but because your presence catalyzes something dormant within them. They start to notice small miracles, or they feel a surge of clarity after spending time with you. They can't quite put it into words, but they feel better, a lighter, more hopeful, more connected to something beyond the noise. This is the quiet power of someone who is chosen, not chosen to be above, but chosen to be in tune. You've become a tuning fork for the divine, and others start to resonate with that frequency just by standing near. And yet, while some are drawn in awe, others react with discomfort. There will always be those who resent the grace that flows through your life, because it reminds them of the parts of themselves they've neglected. They may attempt to downplay your experiences, or mock your sense of meaning, or accuse you of imagining connections where none exist. But what they fail to understand is that the universe is not random, it's relational. And when you align your inner world with the higher order of things, the outer world begins to reflect that harmony. This doesn't make you special in an egoic sense. It makes you responsible, for once you see the design, you cannot unsee it. People may begin to seek your guidance, not because you have all the answers, but because your life has become the answer. You don't teach with explanations, you teach with embodiment. In a world saturated with information, your energy speaks louder than your words. Others can feel the coherence, the integrity, the peace that you carry, and it gives them permission to believe that such a way of living is possible. You've become a bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the logical and the mystical. And as others cross that bridge through your presence, they don't always thank you, but they are changed. Your job is not to be understood. Your task is to remain faithful to the flow. In doing so, the mystery works through you, and the world around you begins to wake up. Another sign that people are beginning to notice you are a chosen one is the way your words start to carry unexpected weight. You speak, and it's as if your voice comes from somewhere deeper than your own mind. People pause, they listen more intently. Even the simplest things you say seem to echo in their thoughts long after the conversation ends. You may not be trying to be wise, or poetic, or profound, yet your presence makes your words land with an energy that goes beyond information. It becomes transmission. There is a stillness behind your speech, and that stillness makes people feel safe. It's not about the volume or the eloquence, it's about the resonance. Because you're no longer speaking just to be heard. You're speaking because something in you knows when silence needs a shape. The chosen one does not speak from the ego's desire to impress, but from the soul's desire to uplift, to remind, to reawaken. And whether you're offering encouragement, truth, or even correction, your words seem to strike the exact chord needed in that moment. This effect isn't limited to conversation. People may begin to quote you, repeat things you've said, or even reflect your language back to you days or weeks later. You become part of their inner dialogue, not because you forced your way in, but because you spoke from such clarity that it etched itself into their memory. Your words become like seeds planted in their soil, seeds that, in time, bloom into understanding they didn't even realize they were ready for. Of course, not everyone receives this well. For some, your words might feel confrontational not because you're harsh, but because the truth they carry is difficult to digest. You may be met with silence, resistance, or even dismissal, and this is important. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to be authentic, and sometimes authenticity disrupts comfort. The truth, when spoken from a grounded soul, has a strange power to either soothe or unsettle, and both reactions are valid. You might also find that people start turning to you in moments of confusion or crisis. They trust your perspective not because you have all the answers, but because your energy is stable when theirs is not. You've become like a lighthouse. You don't chase ships, but they find you when the waters get rough. And when they arrive, your words offer not a map, but a reminder that they already carry the compass within. In this way, you begin to realize that your voice is no longer yours alone. It's been shaped by something beyond the personal. You are being spoken through, not just by, and in that realization, there is a quiet responsibility to speak only when moved by truth, to use your voice not to dominate, but to liberate. The world is listening not just to what you say, but to the silence from which your words arise. One of the subtler but powerful signs that people are noticing you are a chosen one is the way you begin to draw out emotional reactions from others, not by doing anything overt, but simply by being who you are. Your presence stirs something in them. You might walk into a space and notice someone instantly tense, or someone else inexplicably light up. Sometimes people cry in your presence without knowing why. Others might get agitated or even angry. These reactions aren't about you, not really, they're about what your energy awakens in them. You have become a living reminder of the parts of themselves they've buried, ignored, or forgotten. When the soul is exposed to truth, to love, to purity, it has no choice but to respond. It's not always comfortable, because many people have built entire identities around pain, fear, and illusion. When they meet someone who has moved beyond those barriers, not perfectly, but honestly, it can feel like standing in front of a mirror that doesn't lie. You don't have to say a word, and still, you reflect something they've tried to hide from even themselves. This emotional stirring can lead to strange behaviors. Some people may become overly attached to you, placing you on a pedestal and seeing you as more than human. Others may criticize or mock you, attempting to bring you down to earth, not out of reason but because they feel threatened. The truth is, both responses are distortions. They are reactions to something they don't yet understand. Your presence disrupts their familiar reality, and disruption, even when sacred, is rarely met without resistance. But it's not all tension. Many people will feel relief around you. They'll say things like, "I don't know why, but I feel calm when you're here," or "It feels easier to breathe around you." You've become a space of permission for others to feel, to be vulnerable, to drop their guard. They might open up about fears, dreams, regrets they've never voiced before. And you'll realize you're not trying to fix them or offer solutions. You're simply being, and in that being, others find the courage to feel again. This kind of emotional resonance is not something you control. It's a natural outcome of the inner work you've done, or rather, the inner surrender you've allowed. The more you clear yourself of the need to prove, to perform, to be anything other than authentic, the more others feel safe to do the same. This is the quiet power of the chosen one, to awaken healing without even trying, and it's important to remain grounded in humility. You're not the cause of their feelings, you're the catalyst. A chosen one is not a guru or a savior. You are a presence, a witness, a reminder of what is possible. And as you walk with that awareness, the world around you slowly begins to soften, open, and remember itself through you.